Okay, this should be fun. I want you guys to tell me the craziest thing you've ever been told to you by a Maga or a group of Magas. Or maybe your craziest experience with a Maga or a group of Magas. I'll go first. My wife and I, we know where we grew up. We grew up in a small conservative town in California. So we've always been pretty careful about who we choose as friends. One time we were invited, and this was in like 2015. We were invited to a social function. There were about, I'd say probably 8 couples there. And so, during this time, we're in the backyard, barbecuing, getting in the pool, all that kind of stuff, right? At some point, the guys break off into a little area and we're all drinking a couple of beers and talking, and somehow politics comes up. And someone says, yeah, I'm not sure who I'm going to vote for or whatever, right? And this was when, obviously, Donald Trump had announced that he would be running for president. And I just said, yeah, there's no way I'm voting for Donald Trump. That dude is an idiot. He's racist. He's a vile person, right? And this dude, and these people were such nice people, great, like really nice couples to hang out with and stuff, right? And it's one of those moments where you go, oh, you're those kind of people. Yeah. And then you realize, I'm not going to ever talk to this person again. I don't want to be around them. But this one dude starts talking about how he is a huge Trump supporter. And, anyone saying they're a huge supporter of any person or politician, to me, I always find that as weird because I don't put my trust in politicians like that. But whatever. He said that and I'm like, hey man, do you, And this was before all of the craziness, right? Then he says, I think Trump was sent by God to put an end to pedo stuff, right? Without saying too much here, but to get rid of predators, right? And I'm like, wait, what? And listen, I grew up in the church. I understand the whole idea of, God works in mysterious ways. Not my thing. I don't really believe it, but I get where people come from when they say that, if that's their belief, right? But I'm like, wait, you believe Donald Trump? And I said this to the dude. You believe Donald Trump, the dude who's been married 3 times, has committed adultery all the time, had children outside of wedlock, talked about dating his own daughter, said the most gross things on podcasts and radio shows and all of that. You think that's the guy being used by God? And he was like, man, and then he said to me, and this is when I was like, I didn't know anything about this at the time, actually. But then he said to me, have you ever heard of QAnon? And now I'm laughing because at the time I was like, nah, I haven't. And he's like, I'll send you some stuff. And listen, I knew at that point, I didn't want anything to do with this guy because I'm sorry, but I can't take people seriously who think that God is going to use a 3-time, adulterer, horrible person who had been rumored at that time as doing the most horrible things and walking in on underage girls in pageants and stuff I can't take those people seriously. So I knew I wasn't going to talk to this guy again. But he sends me some information online. I read literally 2 sentences and thought, these people are crazy. They're crazy. And when I crossed over from making dancing TikToks to making TikToks about politics, I made fun of that interaction with him and talked about how some people, how I could agree on some things that people didn't like about Hillary Clinton. But when you go down the QAnon road and start saying all this crazy conspiracy stuff, you lose me. He jumped in my comments and said, you just wait, man. You're going to see all the things that Q is saying and 4chan is saying is going to come to fruition. I've seen that guy around because we have, children who were in the same high school together and stuff. And I just give him the look do you feel like an idiot yet? Or I know when he sees me, he's probably like, oh yeah, I remember I told that dude, just wait, it's all gonna come. And so it was just, and so I haven't really had any interaction with this person since then. But yeah, that was that moment where I was like, oh, you're these type of people. And yeah, the like 90% of that group of people I haven't really talked to since. So I want to know some of your experiences as well. I want to know your experiences with MAGAs and MAGA types and what you've gone through, because I have more stories. Like, there are so many people that my wife and I have cut off in our life for things like this, but that was the craziest, and that was my first experience. So please jump in the comments. Let me know your experiences. Have you lost family members, relatives, a husband or a wife to the MAGA cult? Let me know. I would love to hear your stories. Period.
Don't want no enemies or ops. Envy in they heart, I tell them stop. Vacation on the yacht.